ladies and gentlemen. Make sure this thing's going. Yep, that's going live. That's good. That's good. Can I see some activity in the chat to let me know that it's working? Still trying to get a few kinks figured out here. Okay. Here we go. Daniel McCall's in. Chris Kotlowski's in. Dave Laughlin. Dominic Gallardo, maybe. Michael Buckholz. Bob Lang. Tim Sheets. Brian Patterson. Nicholas Edwards. Alan Hotchkiss. All right. So we are working. We are live. Let's blow this baby up. Real quick. Obviously new surroundings, right? Just moved this weekend for the second time in 9 months in Kansas City. Went from Overland Park to Leawood. Long story. Mother-in-law decided that she wasn't going to move in with us. Her husband passed away last January, surprisingly, my father-in-law. And at the time, she thought she was going to move in with us. So I bought a house larger than what myself, my wife, my 18-year-old and 11-year-old needed because I wanted the mother-in-law to have some space. She decided that she wanted to remain in her home. God bless her, all for it. So I decided, let's just move on down the road a little bit, downsize from that place that I bought. So new surroundings, going to have some fun work behind me at some point in time. But hey, we're here for the content. Let's get to the content and let's talk about this amazing game. 73. Iowa, 50-7 Ohio State. And you guys know that I love the stats. So I want to look up real quick to see if Ohio State has been held to less than 57 points all season. They scored 60 in a loss to Purdue, 70 in a loss to Northwestern, 60 in a loss to Minnesota, 65 in a loss. No, this is it. I think that's a season low that the Iowa Hawkeye defense, your Iowa Hawkeye defense, just held the number 3 most efficient offense in college basketball to just 57 points. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Folks, I did not see this coming today. I was a little bit skeptical of Iowa's chances here, but they got a split against 2 top 4 ranked teams this week. And if Iowa beats Nebraska on Thursday and Wisconsin next Saturday, the Hawkeyes will be a 3 seed at worst, no matter what happens in the Big Ten tournament, and could potentially play their way back on to the 2 line. I think as long as Iowa beats Nebraska and Wisconsin, 4 seed, don't worry about it, which means that Iowa wouldn't face a 1 seed as a 3 seed potentially until the Elite 8 round. And if they can get to the 2 line, it means they would avoid any 1 seeds to the round of Final Four if they won, of course. Not putting the cart before the horse there, just making sure you know that. So that was fun. All right, let's talk some statistics here. Going to share screen. There she is. Pull it up the screen window, application. There we are. I think I need to do one more thing. Bam. Here we go. Hopefully you guys can see that and it's large enough. So on the split box, we have Iowa shooting 47%. One thing real quick, Iowa and Ohio State, near mirror images of one another relative to the advanced statistical analytics. Iowa, the second best offense in the country. Ohio State, the third best offense in the country. Before this game, Iowa's defensive efficiency was ranked 80th. Ohio State's was ranked 86th. So from those 2 key statistical aspects, these 2 programs nearly mirror images of one another. Iowa today dictated what it wanted to do. Iowa ran its offense. Iowa wound up at 1.123 points per game. That's probably not as good as what they normally do, but it was good. But on defense, Iowa held Ohio State to 0.864 points per possession. Iowa dictated the game today to the number 4 ranked team in the country. Just so much fun. 47% for the Hawks, 42% from downtown, as Iowa, as you just saw me switch to that. Let's go down here real quick. Iowa, coming into this game, was the fourth best three-point shooting team in the country based on percentage, and they did not hurt themselves today with that. Just 9 free throw attempts for Iowa, but only 10 for Ohio State. Just 5 turnovers for the Hawkeyes. And Iowa with 15-6 in points off turnovers. Iowa did a very good job on the defensive glass today, mitigating Ohio State to just 2 offensive rebounds. Fantastic. Bench played a huge role. We'll get more to that in a minute. Teams even in the paint. Let's go to visitor stats here. Luka Garza, 24 points, and so many of those points were so key, crucial, and critical when Iowa needed some answers. Iowa led by 14 at the half, and Ohio State went on an 11-0 run. And the Hawkeyes were reeling a little bit, but Iowa punched back, and they went to Garza, hitting threes, hitting sky hooks. Not the Kareem version of the sky hook, but a baby sky hook. Garza, I mean, the National Player of the Year stuff, get the F out of here. 11 rebounds for Garza, so another double-double. I think he may be the nation's leader. 38 minutes logged by the big man because Jack Nunge is out for the season with the torn meniscus. 8 points for Jordan Bohannon, including the dagger late. Aggressive Joe Wieskamp was a beautiful thing today. 5 of 9 from 3. Phone box three-point shooting Joe today, as we saw. That was, I mean, what a huge game by Joe. Bohannon also 5 assists all-time, leading assist man in school history. And as I tweeted out, some idiot that I know didn't think Jordan Bohannon would be was worthy of be a Big Ten basketball guard. That guy's an idiot. Bohannon's now the leading assist man in Iowa history and the second leading three-point shooter all-time in Big Ten history. And that idiot that I know, was sitting on his couch earlier in the game and is balding. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Patrick McCaffrey, 4 points. Pat had a really good game. I thought Pat played really well in the 13 minutes that he played. He attacked, made some good cuts. Very instinctive player. Keegan Murray in 21 minutes, 8 points, 5 boards, 1 block. But he is just love Keegan Murray. My goodness. Keegan Murray's floor game, all-around game, things that don't show up in the stat sheet are awesome. Joe Toussaint, just 3 points. 7 flipping assists to 1 turnover. My man Joe T playing his best game since at least December. And he was phenomenal. Defensively, he was phenomenal. He was hooked up with Patrick and Keegan instincts. These guys make some instinctual, off-the-script type cuts, and Joe was on today. And how key and pivotal. If Joe Toussaint can play like that the rest of the season, in my hypothetical world, Iowa can go to the Elite Eight. I'm saying that right there. Okay. Is there any other statistics that I want to look at here? I don't think these have probably been updated yet. Iowa's still 17-7. We'll get back to some of that here in a bit. I'm going to stop screen sharing now. And we can start taking some of your questions and comments. I'm going to scroll back up here. This is the new, for those of you that weren't here last time, this is the new software that we're going to use. Marc Morehouse is going to be back with me on Thursday night after the Nebraska game. If you missed it, Marc and I are going to do HawkeyePodcast.com together. The actual website will launch on Thursday, March the 4th. You'll be able to access these live videos at any point in time. Everything on the website's free. All I ask you to do is just whitelist HawkeyePodcast.com with your ad blocker. Otherwise, you won't be able to read anything. And all the ads that we're going to be selling are going to be locally sold ads, which means you don't have to worry about malware. You don't have to worry about viruses. That's the problem with some of those third-tier national conglomerates. I know. I used to do it. So got to whitelist this, but these are all going to be local advertisers. So I appreciate that. That's your only payment for it. Going to be the podcast will be on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify. All that'll be rolling on Thursday. Marc will be back in the saddle Thursday. We'll also start talking about football-related topics in March. So y'all know Marc Morehouse. He's the best. He and I are going to team up, and we're looking to have some fun. We appreciate you being here with us today. It's February 28th. After I get done recording this, I'm going to go and turn off the Patreon. So all of you patrons that were with me since October, thank you. Or November, December, January. Thank you so much for jumping on board with me early. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Helped everything coalesce with what you're going to see going forward. So questions and comments, opinions, whatever, go ahead and leave them in the chat and we will roll it. Chris Dunn starts out with, Nunji out, how important are the minutes played by the bench this season going to pay off in March? Iowa has played 9, 10, 11 at points in time. Today, Keegan did Keegan Murray things today. And this was his best game in a while, too. He kind of hit a little bit of a wallish, it looked like to me. He played great. Joe Toussaint, best game in a couple of months. And I hope Joe is able to file this away into the confidence tank and go forward with this. Just a fantastic effort by him. The announcers kept saying that we might see Chris Murray. I'm sure that Fran told him that. I'm still skeptical that we will, maybe if there's foul trouble. But Luka can't go 38 minutes a game. He'll wear down before it's all said and done. But yeah, the bench has been playing a lot of minutes. You know, Patrick probably gets more minutes as well. Thank you, Chris, for that. Chris Bryant saying, fun game, proud to see Iowa bounce back. Yep. LoserTube says, Keegan is the immediate future of this program. Let's get his brother up to speed. Yeah, probably going to be next year for his brother. That would be my opinion. Hawks and Harley says, Hawks were much more aggressive in the rebounds today. Joe T played a fantastic game. Yeah, the rebounds on Ohio State with just 2 offensive boards. Not a big team, so that's not a huge surprise, but 2 offensive rebounds is a surprise. And I don't care who you're playing. It just usually you're going to balls will fall into your lap. That's what she said. And you can get more than 2 offensive rebounds a game. Dave Laughlin says, hey, we even got little photos popping up. How about this? I love this new software. This team will go as far as the D will take it. The offense is out of this world, but when they pack a defense with them, they play at a whole different level. I want to repeat something and focus on it. Iowa mixed in some zone today, as you saw, but it was probably 75% man-to-man. Played well. Joe T played really good defense. Keegan played good defense. Patrick played good defense. Joe Wieskamp, probably I'd give him a B+ on the defensive end. Connor played good defense. This was the 3rd most efficient offensive team in the country, and Iowa played man-to-man, I think, at least 75% of this game. That bodes well. I did not think I would see that happen this year from this team, but they're on a streak. They are on a streak. Michigan might be the best team in college basketball, all right? That's an aberration. You might have to play Michigan in the Big Ten tournament, maybe. Iowa, if they win the rest of their games, going to get the double bye. Probably going to be on Michigan's side as the 4, but Iowa maybe can creep into the 3. Ken Pomeroy has not updated his site yet, but going into this game, Ohio State was 12-6. Iowa was 11-6. Both of those teams are going to be tied in the loss column. I'm not sure how the Big Ten is going to be doing its tiebreakers, but I think they absolutely have to look at the loss column. Then go from there, head-to-head and other tiebreakers. Maybe some of you know how they're going to do it. Maybe they've said it. I've literally, since Friday, since the moving trucks arrived at my house on Friday at 9:30, I've been dragging ass, busting ass, working. So I don't know if that's come out. Iowa could get to that 3 seed maybe. Again, if I'm wrong, if I'm speaking out of turn, I apologize if it's already whatever. But getting to that 3 would put you on the bottom side of the bracket away from Michigan. You want to stay the heck away from Michigan as long as you possibly can. Dave, thank you for these comments. Thank you for being a patron for a long time. Same thing to Hawks and Harleys as well. You were definitely in and early. Nancy Kafer. Hey, Nancy. Nancy says, finally got the Iowa can't win a top 10 matchup monkey off our back. I want to go to something real quick here on the fly. I think that's Iowa's 6th quad 1 win of the year. I'm not looking that up. I just want to see how many teams Iowa has beaten this year that were ranked. And if you just bear with me a second, I'll have that. That was number 4 Ohio State that they just beat. They beat then 16th North Carolina, then 19th Northwestern, then 14th Rutgers, then 16th Minnesota, Then, okay, Michigan State's not ranked, but Michigan State's playing their way into the dance. Then 25th, Rutgers, then 21st, Wisconsin, and now then 4th, Ohio State. Now, I know a lot of those teams are no longer ranked. I mean, Iowa beating them kind of has something to contribute to that, too. Michigan State is coming on like a truckload of bullfrogs, as we used to say back in West Branch. That was a hell of a win today for Iowa. Next up is Daniel McCall. I've been thinking about the last couple of days. Do you think Nunge will finish out his eligibility? What are your thoughts about him possibly retiring from the game? You can't blame him if he did. I've thought about that too a little bit. My thoughts are Jack Nunge can make a 6-figure-a-year living playing professionally in Europe. I don't know that there's any doubt about that. But the mental anguish that he's going through, with everything that's gone on, these injuries, then losing his father, another injury. When you get hurt and you have to go through rehab, it's the mental part that is the hardest. And I don't know. That's a good question, something to talk about in the out season, but I think that wouldn't surprise me either way. Dave Laughlin again, can Joe T be the difference maker in Nunge's absence? If he can play like this every game, especially distributing the ball for easy baskets for their players, that will be huge moving forward. It can be a huge difference, especially with his defense. But Garza can't play 38 minutes a game. And that's that. This is a good observation from Daniel McCall. Fran called a timeout to regroup. Write that down. Iowa, the lead got from 14 to like 4. To start the second half, and then Fran called a timeout, so that was fantastic. Next up is from Matt E. Is it possible that Iowa may be better with a smaller rotation, contrary to Fran's beliefs? Joe T finally had time to settle in. Players actually had a chance to get in a rhythm today. I really wish that, yes, I think a shorter rotation probably is best, but I wish Jack Nunge were available. Iowa's going to need Nunge at some point in time, or Garza's going to wear down. Sorry already for that theme warning. Next up, Joe T can play that way, but got more than 4 minutes today, which allowed him to adjust his speed to tempo. All he needs is more game minutes to sync up with the starters. Aaron, Joe came out and was a little jitterbuggy, a little over his ski tips, too much energy, where he loses his footwork and almost loses the ball, but then he calmed down, got to within himself. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's that he didn't get the hook because Fran couldn't hook him because he needed to, adjust the rotation. And that is what he needed potentially. So there may be something to that. One person's statistics I overlooked earlier. CJ Frederick, he had 5 points. This says he was 1 of 3 from 3. I could have swore he made 2. Man, does he have a sweet, sweet shot. I think him and Peter Jock's shot are about as pure as they get. Toxic Kid, I'm just going to throw this up because I agree with this. Onions. He is playing so aggressive. He knows his team needs him to do those things. He can shoot the ball in a phone booth. He's 6'5", so he can shoot it in a phone booth, and he's been doing it. It's been fantastic. Brian Patterson says Keegan did hit the freshman wall, also known as got a scouting report on him. Yeah, but I think he's just been a little more unsure of himself around the rim, and today was the best game that he's played in a while. This comes from Alan Hotchkiss. Good defense against the top 3 offensive team is saying something. There's no doubt about that. Brian Ulrich, who's been around the Hawkeye podcast shows since they started. Big adjustment this game, committed 4 to 5 guys on the defensive rebounding side, and it paid dividends. It did. And you know what I think all that also did? It adjusted Iowa's points off fast breaks. It adjusted the tempo a little bit. Iowa was willing to give up some points in the game to control the offensive glass. And they did. Let's see if I can find fast break points. Iowa had 5 only, but Ohio State only had 2. I mean, that's fantastic. Aaron Lenig, new name. Good to see you, unless you were a different name on the earlier chats. Great game today. They need to make more of those 5-foot or less shots. They missed at least 7 down low. Let me go look at the stats real quick on that. Layups. Iowa was 10 of 16 on what they consider, the stat place considers layups. Ohio State was 8 of 12. Zach P says the ability to mix zone and man was important today. Iowa was getting beat on the pick and roll to start the second, and then they switched to zone for a stretch to stop that. Excellent observation. They did do that. They switched to that. Ohio State came out looked like they got an ass chewing at halftime, and they came out and they were rolling. Washington, I mean, to me, if I'm them, if I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm really pissed off that they stopped making every possible effort to get Washington to the rim off the bounce. He only had 7 points in this game. That's a hell of a job for Iowa. I mean, what do you have, like 24, 25 against Michigan last week? He's a heck of a player, and he's hard to stop when he gets ahead of steam going. Really hard to stop. Lisa Sotelo, also a name that I've seen for the last several months. Glad you're expanding the fun. I predicted a future partnership. Just don't forget the Patreon people. No, I'm not going to forget you at all. Appreciate each and every one of you that supported the efforts. October, November, December, January, and February. And now in March, everything's free and it's going to be more than we ever had. So thank you very much for allowing that, for helping to set the tone for that. Absolutely. Appreciate it. But I'm going to be shutting the Patreon down after I record this because I don't want it to charge anyone anymore. So thank you so much. And then starting on Thursday, there'll be a website with written stories from Marc and I, with podcasts from Marc and I, with videos from Marc and I, and probably more voices that we bring in as guests. We're going to have a ton of fun. Got a lot of ideas, but I'm just going to let those things happen as opposed to telling you before they happen like I've done in past iterations of my life. And we'll just go ahead and reveal them drip, drip, drip. Dalton Cody says, any chance Ogundele gets playing time with Nunji out or go small? I don't think so. From what I've seen from him, he is not ready this year. So I do not think so. Brian Ullery says, is this win the best of the Fran McCaffrey era? If not, at least on the Mount Rushmore. I don't know if I'd say Mount Rushmore, but I won't know that I wouldn't. I need to think about it more because when you consider what's at stake, this is huge. So if we're going to weight what's at stake, this one might be. What do you mean, John? What's at stake? What I mean, what's at stake is double bye opportunity in the Big Ten tournament, a 2 or 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. And folks, Iowa's been a 2 seed one other time in 86, 87, maybe also back once in the Lute era, and then a 3 seed in 05, 06. It's not often this happens. And today's win, as long as Iowa beats Nebraska, who just beat Minnesota, and it sounds like maybe little Patino's out, and also beat Wisconsin in the season ender. If Iowa wins their next 2 games, they aren't going to be lower than a 3 seed. And that is huge to avoid the one possible matchup until no sooner than the Elite 8. So that's a good point, Brett. Given the weight of it, could be. Connor Blythe, also a Patreon member for a long time, and appreciate that. We match up so much better against a team like this than a physical team like Michigan in the past. I felt like we didn't stand a chance against teams like Villanova, but we can beat those teams. Michigan's defense and their spacing and their length, their wingspan, they're just damn good. I think they might be the best team in the country. I do. Now, Iowa's played Gonzaga and Michigan. I think Michigan's played a much higher strength of schedule. Michigan at this point has played the 15th toughest schedule in the country. Iowa, by the way, was at 16th toughest before today's game. And Gonzaga's played the 105th toughest schedule in the country. Before today's game, has it been updated? No, it hasn't been updated yet. Before today's game, Iowa had played against the 9th most difficult defensive profile of any team in the country. Michigan had played against the 24th most difficult, and Gonzaga the 108th most. To me, Michigan is the best team in the country. There, I said it. Brian Patterson says, Iowa could be the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Illinois has both Ohio State and Michigan. Brian, my man, thanks for pointing that out. Let's pull this up. Brian makes this come into my mind. Going to go ahead and share this screen so we can look at this together. Let's share. So Iowa's game has not yet been updated on this. Go ahead and got to do that. Iowa is now 12-6. Ohio State is now 12-7. Illinois is 14-4. But if Illinois wins both of those, and they're tied with Iowa, and it's a head-to-head tie, then Illinois is going to get it. Yeah, Illinois will get it. So I don't know that Iowa can get to that 2 seed. Sorry, I hadn't done the math before. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, and math isn't my best, but brackets and this sort of math I'm pretty good at it. I don't know that Iowa can get there, because if Illinois and Iowa tie in the loss column and the win column, Illinois gets the head-to-head nod. Nicholas Baker says Iowa is the 3 seed right now in the tournament. Matt Savare, also a patron. How much will the Big Ten tournament affect seeding? What will it take to get to a 2 seed in the NCAA? To a 2 seed, in my opinion, win the next 2 and then win 2 in the Big Ten tournament, and you're a 2 seed. Doesn't matter what happens in the championship game, assuming the double bye. If you win the next 2 and win your first in the tournament, which means you're probably going to be playing the 5 seed if you're the 4 seed, that might be enough, depending on what else happens around the country. Because right now you've got, Gonzaga, they're a 1. Michigan's a 1. Baylor's probably a 1, but I don't know. I don't think Houston's going to be a 1. So I could very well see Iowa playing into the 2 if they did something like that. See here. Chris Kotlowski says a top 10 road win on nationally televised game is huge. Hawks made Buckeyes look lethargic most of the game. Folks, this is the 3rd CBS game for Iowa this year, at least. The 3rd Sunday marquee CBS game. What is this, the 1980s? Iowa hasn't had 3 of these in a season probably since the 80s. Just that music just gets the freaking blood pumping. Hey, there's 180 people in here. I think this is a high watermark now. This is fantastic. Thanks for all of you doing that. And if you have fun today when you watch this, please tell all your friends that Miller and Morehouse are going to build something a lot of fun. You guys make the live show tick. Marc was here. He would say that Marc's the master at interacting with folks on Twitter and chats. Marc's been better at it for longer than I have. So he would certainly be echoing that. Jeremy Merrill says, by the way, do you like the slide-ins with these things? It's really freaking cool, isn't it? Let's go to, yes, huge win. Iowa had a bunch of good wins, but this one's an attention grabber. Do you think if Iowa wins out and wins 1 game in the Big Ten tournament, they will be solidly on the 2 line? Sorry, I just stole your thunder. Didn't see the question. Yeah, I think it's really, really possible. There's so many kick-ass things that are back in play now. What a difference 3-4 days make. Iowa had a huge opportunity this week playing against the number 2 team or 3 team in the nation, depending on which poll, and then the number 4 team in the nation. And they beat the number 4 team in the nation. They beat them handily. They beat them 73-57, 16-point win over the number 4 team in the nation. They gave themselves chances. They opened up the fields of opportunity because they took care of business. And damn it, folks, this is why we all love it. This is what we all wanted. This is why COVID was freaking me out all summer, because I didn't want this basketball season to go by the wayside. And thank you to all the players for the sacrifices that they're making, basically being hermits so that we can get our entertainment and the NCAA can get paid. I am eternally grateful because I've had more fun watching. This is the most fun I've had watching an Iowa basketball team since the 1980s. It's just fun. And I feel like a kid when I watch this team. And there's not many things that, I'm 14 days away from 50 years old. There's not many things that make you feel like a kid anymore. Certainly not moving. Moving does not make you feel like a kid. Go to Jesse Hoffel. Joe T, his career has taught us one thing. Give him the minutes and let him play with mistakes. The reward is there. Playing him limited minutes, just get his mistakes. Sometimes that has to happen. Sometimes it's hard to live with. Iowa has a very deep guard court. But today, he was huge, key, and instrumental all over the stat sheet. Just a fantastic effort. Let's go to Connor Blythe. If for some reason we lost one of our last 2 games and we tied with Ohio State for seeding, who gets the better seed? If you're talking about the Big Ten tournament, so if Iowa and Ohio State split, I don't think Ohio State's going to play 20 games. In a normal year where the teams played the same amount of games, if you split head-to-head and it's just if it's just a two-way tie for a seed, you go to head-to-head. If the head-to-head is not conclusive, then you basically go to the top of the standings and you look at how you performed against the teams at the top of the standings. And then you just keep going down until one team gets an advantage. Ohio State beat Illinois earlier this year. So, and then they play Illinois. And if they lose to Illinois, Ohio State would be 500 against Illinois. Iowa is 0-1 against Illinois. So Ohio State has that tiebreaker advantage just based on that alone. In my opinion right now, if we are going by old tiebreakers. Can I go here? Scrolling down. Jason Miller, familiar face. Joe T had a great game. If I'm playing Iowa, I give him the counter treatment until he begins to hit a jumper. Agreed. I would definitely back off of him for sure. Why would you want to get up in his jockstrap? He can only hurt you if you do that. If you back off, that is definitely the way to go. Travis Mullen says, just joining. Where did you move to, John? I'm in Leawood, Kansas at about 132nd Mission. It's about as much as we'll say. I think you said earlier this year you were in Leawood. So, okay. Oh, this is something I might not want to pull up. Can't wait for John to Forica. Chris, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's something the kids are saying and you guys are all laughing. I don't know. Oh, no. Here's the next one. Can't wait for John to update his forecast for remaining Big Ten schedule, which tells us who to root for this week. We'll do it tonight. And thank you to mred36 on Twitter for his software that allows us all to see that. Connor Blythe says, Rutgers right on the edge for another Q1 win, I believe. 7 Q1 wins is 2-seed worthy. I saw Nova is only 2-3 in Q1s. Let me go to the net. We'll pull it up so you all can see it as well. Screen share. Dang right I do. Application window. Right there. Bam. Share. Pull it up on the screen. And away we go. So this was before today. Iowa 17-7. Quad ones 5-6. They just picked up a 6 quad 1 win. Let's go down and see where Rutgers is. Rutgers. Where have you gone? Rutgers. Let's just do this. RUTGRS. No, not on that screen. On this screen. Rutgers is 31. So if Rutgers can get up into the top 25, that home win would be a Q1 win. But here's your quad ones. Teams that have more than 6. Gonzaga, Michigan, Baylor. No, that's the wrong one. Gonzaga, Michigan. Baylor also has 6 as Iowa has. Illinois has 8. Iowa now with 6. Ohio State with 7. And as you said, there's Villanova and Alabama with 7 as well. So not many teams have more than Iowa, as we can see there. Stop sharing. Going to go over here and refresh Ken Pomeroy a second because I just want to see the numbers on the board like the Jerry Lewis Telethon, and the numbers are on the board. Let's do it. Can't believe I have this much energy from moving all weekend. But this win just reignited me. Here we go. Iowa remains at number 5 in Ken Pomeroy's rankings. Their adjusted offense remains at number 2. But look at this sweet Sally, baby. 59th in the country on defensive efficiency. Hold the phones. Another prediction that I got wrong. Well, I didn't get wrong. I said before the season, those of you who've been with me all year, I said for Iowa to get me to believe they can be an Elite 18, they need to have their effective field goal percentage around 55, 56 points, 56%. I said that before the season began. Let's go see what that baby's at. That baby right there is at 55 even. Ring-a-ling, ding, ding. There they are. Why did I say that? Because 2014 Michigan was a team that was 12th in offensive adjusted efficiency margin, but they were 3rd in offense and they were 89th in defense. And when I looked at their fingerprints and their signature, they were at 55.7. And then 2016 Indiana, same thing. They were 20th in effective field goal percentage. And if you look at the Big Ten that year, they were 6th in offense and 59th in defense. Ladies and gentlemen, your Iowa Hawkeyes are now 59th in defense. I said if they got into the top 60, then I'll believe they can be an Elite Eight team. The change to man-to-man defense that we've seen has me believing that they can be an Elite Eight team, but Jack Nunge's injury really hurts, really stinks. Iowa now at an adjusted efficiency margin at 29.66. Holy cow, that is impressive. They're not going to eclipse 2015 Wisconsin to have the Ken Pomeroy record for adjusted offense, the game against Michigan and the game today, knocking them down. It's not going to happen, but I don't care. So Iowa now 12-6. Purdue is 11-6. Ohio State is 12-7. Ohio State yet to go. They have Illinois. That's it. That game is at home. I'm rooting for Illinois to win that game because I don't think that Iowa can surpass Illinois, although Illinois only has one game left. So, again, the tiebreaker stuff, I don't know, but Iowa has 6 games in the loss column. If Illinois wins that, they absolutely will be the second seed. So I'll do more of this. It'll be one of the first posts I make on the new HawkeyePodcast.com when we release that on Thursday, and it goes live Thursday, the 4th of March. You take a breath. Dave Laughlin, following one of my key follows on Twitter from Matt Benson. Iowa's first win on the road when both teams are in the top 10 since number 9 Iowa beat number 6 Carolina January 7th, 1989. Holy shiznit. That is a great stat. Thank you so much. Brandon P., following up on what I talked about earlier. 3 Bill Rafferty games, 2 Vitale games, 1 Jay Billis and 1 Clark Kellogg game. We've had the big-time announcers this year. You can't get the smile off my face for this season. It's been so much fun, and there's so much to go. Oh, man. This is from Paul Heimer. How do you get Luka's minutes down to 30 or 32 or so? I don't know that that's going to happen unless you – hopefully Iowa beat stomps North Nebraska so bad that Luka only has to play like 20. That would be really freaking good. Yeah, that would be really good. This is from KK10. Do you think Fran keeps the rotation to 8 for the most part, at least in tourney play, or expands to include one of the freshman guards? Go back to look at the stat sheet today. So visitor stats today. Bohannon, Frederick, Wieskamp, McCaffrey. That's 4. Garza, Toussaint, Murray, McCaffrey. That's 8. That's an 8-man bench. Iowa's been playing with a 9-man bench. 9-man bench isn't bad. 9-man bench for the way Iowa wants to play is probably optimal. Garza and Keegan Murray are your probably only true forward bodies. That's not enough. It's not enough if anybody gets hurt. It's not optimal, but it's the hand they got, so it's the hand they will play. Connor Blythe says, Wisconsin, sure doing their best Fran Fade impersonation. Are they still going to be a home Q1 opportunity? Wisconsin is at 23. Hopefully, that's the thing. Iowa's going to beat them. If Iowa beats them at home, then they might not be. But, they'll certainly be a Q1 from the road standpoint. But speaking of the Fran Fade that people like to quote, I'm not saying it is, or I'm not going to get in a fight with you. Here's February for Iowa. Win against Michigan State. Lost to Ohio State, lost to Indiana. Win against Rutgers, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Penn State. Lost to Michigan, win against Ohio State. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3. 6 and 3 in February. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all, especially considering how loaded this league is this year. Yes, sorry. Iowa, Ohio State tiebreaker would be winning percentage versus team 2. Yes, thank you. Scrolling down here. Brian Patterson said Nova lost today to a losing Butler team 2. James, let me know Ken Palm's updated. Thank you very much. This is from Brian. Can Ken Palm tell you that 2 defensive teams over the month of February. I feel like Iowa is high in that regard. I'm not sure if you can explain more of what you're asking. This is probably a fun question, so could you please ask it again, Brian? I appreciate that. This next one is from Jesse Hoffel. Is there really no repercussions for the refs that have obvious team player bias? Borowski was a joke today. I don't think that refs have a team player. I don't think they go in like, we're going to call it this way for this team. I just don't believe that happened. I don't believe that's the case. I think certain refs call things certain ways, and it wouldn't surprise me if Fran's gotten under a few of their collective skin pads. I don't know what the hell a skin pad is, but it's hard for me to believe that would be the case. I don't want to believe it. Maybe that's it. Brian hasn't gotten back to me yet. I'm going to go to Twitter real quick to see some updates from the post game and share those, and then we can get out of here. Iowa basketball tweeted from Jordan Bohannon. This is quoting Jordan Bohannon. We have so many guys that can step up at different moments of the game. They understand what it takes to pull out a special win like this. That's what's going to be important down the stretch. John Bonenkamp reminds us that 2 weeks from today, we're going to have brackets. I might have to put a freaking bracket behind me on the wall. Okay, Brian brings this up, says defensive efficiency. Oh, that's not it. It's this. Defensive efficiency over the month. Just Ken Palm. Okay, I understand that. To see how defensive efficiency has gone up, I don't know, but yeah, there is. There's an archive mode. I don't want to do that on the fly because I don't know exactly how to get to it, but it does. But Iowa was down in the 130s, like within the last 30 days. They were like 131st, 137th. Now they're 59th because they've been kicking ass. That is Iowa's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sixth opponent in the last 7 games that Iowa has held below 70 points. That's pretty good. Hearing a little buzz in here. It's a new house, so I'm trying to get figured out what those things are. Okay, back to Twitter quick. Jordan Bohannon on the team response from Thursday. We certainly didn't listen to Twitter coaches, that's for sure. That's from Chad Likes to Go. I love Bohannon's sass. I just love it. I love that about him. It's fantastic. All right, that's going to be it. Well, wait. Coach McCaffrey on Joe Toussaint quote. This is from Iowa basketball. I was really impressed with Joe Toussaint today. He played with great pace. When he does that, he impacts the game the way he did today. Joe's a veteran guy, and we're going to count on him. And this is a quote on Joe Toussaint from Luca Garza. Joe Toussaint is a warrior. He's a hell of a player. He comes in and plays as hard as he can. He's terrific at attacking the defense, getting into the paint, and finding people. His activity defensively, I was so proud of him. And that's great. That's the Joe T game. The Big Ten Network just updated what the brackets would look like. There's like 19 people that left. They would miss all this. What are you doing? You can't go home early. So this is what the bracket would look like as we speak. Remember we talked about earlier, get to that 3 line ahead of Ohio State to avoid mighty Michigan. And then get another opportunity at the Batters for a third time. Sign me up. And then another opportunity against Illinois. Whew. It all looks really good on paper. Sign me up for that. That would be absolutely fantastic. Well, I think that we have reached the end of things, unless a few more things snuck in. No. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here. You guys make this fun. You allow me to play off of you. You help me keep the energy going. Thank you so much for that. Marc and I thank you in advance for being a part of these podcasts that we do. So this audio will live on, be repackaged in the form of a podcast. It will be available at Hawkeye Podcast on your Apple, your Google, your Spotify at some point in time this week. I have to have the site live before the podcast can be live and be searchable. Okay. But your participation during these live broadcasts, broad pods, let's call them, is going to be invaluable to Marc and to me. It's been invaluable to me all season long. And I truly thank each and every one of you. You make this fun. Without you, it's just me talking off the top of my head for 40 minutes, and that's not good. But when you bring me it's like a call-in radio show without the callers. And I'm sure a lot of you would be fantastic callers. Okay, don't get me wrong. But I presided over 1,000 call-in radio shows, over 1,000 in my career. No joke. And at times it gets tedious, because some people have some really great thoughts in their head. They're just not accustomed, or they get anxious or whatever. It doesn't come out. But when I can bring your questions up on to the screen like this, it makes it fantastic. It's fun. You get a chance to participate, which is what Marc and I want. And we get a chance to riff off of you. So please be here for these when we go live. Marc and I will be live on Thursday following the Nebraska game. And then when we get done doing these broad pods, we'll take the audio, we'll convert the audio to a podcast. So if you can't make it to them, you'll be able to access them. And then the video, if you want to watch the video replay, hey, it's here at YouTube on the Hawkeye Podcast channel. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. That way you'll get alerts when we go live. And then Marc and I are going to do our written content thing as well. We've already got several local sponsors from the state of Iowa and the region all lined up, and going to ask you to support those guys when we get the opportunity to share that. So much fun. And thank you very much for being here. I've got to go fight a troll over on Twitter that I see now. It never